Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I was recently watching YouTube and Jordy Colors did a really cool video, and it was about her go-to coloring supplies and tools. I really enjoyed it and I thought I would do the same thing. So hopefully you enjoy this video. In addition to coloring books, I guess the first thing everyone thinks about are pencils, and this is going to be no surprise. Most people love either Prismacolor or Polychromos. That seems to be the two big brands that I hear about. Mine is obviously, if you've watched anything on the channel, are my Prismacolor pencils. I started with them, which might be the reason why they're one of my favorites. But I like how smooth they are. They lay down quite opaque. They're very creamy. And there isn't one coloring book that I've tried these pencils where it did not work in them. While some other pencils I have, especially if you start going toward the budget brands, it does affect, or the paper does affect the pencils, or the other way around. I'm not really too sure which way that one goes. But this is a pencil that I know that no matter what book I'm working in, it will work really well. So I really like those pencils for that. But this is more, I don't think that these are pricey if you're in the United States. If you're outside the US, they probably are more expensive. But here in the US, they're really like a mid-range pencil. If I'm gonna talk about a more budget-friendly pencil, then I could only talk about the pastel set. But I really do like these Brute pencils. They are a harder pencil, so, you have to layer them a little, but, they lay down a nice amount of pigment. I'm not working like a dog to try to get a layer. I recently did a review of the Castle Arts Harmonious pencils. I know a lot of people like them, and I'm just shocked because I absolutely disliked them. I felt like more than half of them, or maybe close to half, were very rough on my hand. I had to really press to get any pigment out of them. I used their swatch sheet, and I used the Nina cardstock to see how it would work on that. And on the Nina cardstock, it was slightly better, but I still felt like on those two papers, I was really working really hard. So I don't work that hard on these pencils. I mean, I just picked this one. I'll just pick any other one. And you could see right from there. I mean, there's no issue. This is watercolor paper, so it's textured. It was the only thing I had on this desk. But it really flows really nicely. I heard a lot of great things about the Brute squares, but I can't really talk to anything else except for the Brute pastel set, or I think it's called Macaron. But I really like these, and if there's more budget friendly than the Prismacolor, and if this is what you could afford, I could recommend the Brute pencils. While we're on the pencil, let's talk erasers. I originally had the Derwent pencil eraser. Looks just like this, give or take. It's black. I might have gotten a bad one because mine didn't even last a year, yet other people have had theirs 10 years. So I didn't want to buy them a second time. And I heard a lot of great things about this AFMAT. People also talk about the pencil sharpener. And so I thought this brand might be a good replacement for my Derwent. And I really like this. I've had it about 2 years. It has not let me down at all. You recharge it on your, phone. It came with a lot of extra eraser nibs. And it comes in 2 sizes. You could replace, I don't have any of the, it comes with 2 of these gray inserts that you put this tiny little eraser into. and it can get in such tiny little spots. I really think that the two sizes make a difference to me. I use them both. This is, obviously I'm using the larger one most of the time, but when I have to get into a tight space, I don't have to change erasers. I just pull this out, stick the other one in, and that's it. And it's great. So I definitely could recommend the AFMAT pencil eraser or electric eraser. I also like these pencil cases. Now, this is some really bad marketing because I don't know the brands of this. So if I wanted to buy it again, which I do because I've had this one for 3 years, I'm using it daily and constantly, opening and closing it, it's getting a little used looking. It still works great, nothing's falling apart. But what I like about it, and other brands like this, is I like the individual pencil slots. I also have one that you can do 3 pencils at a time. I didn't like that as much, and I think it's just me being weird. I just felt like the 3 pencils I had together might not go together, and it was just really strange strange part of my personality. It just bothered me that I would have 2 reds and a blue in one case or one elastic piece. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. But just so you know, I do prefer the ones with the individual slots. I could leave some blank spaces, which I do sometimes because some of the pencils are missing colors. So like you'll see, I have a Holbein in here because I didn't feel like the Prismacolor had a really light aqua. So this allows me to add colors. I could leave spaces in between colors. So if I find something that I really love, like a Holbein pencil, I could just add it in. I do, you will notice, put the color numbers down. This is kind of based on what colors work well together. And for the life of me, I don't know where I got this list. So, but I'm sure you can find it if you just go on YouTube. But I do like these pencil cases better than opening and closing boxes and tins. This just makes it easy. If I want to leave or go someplace, I just grab this, grab a book, and go where I have to go. So I do recommend getting a good pencil case. Okay, so I want to move on to maybe some water mediums and what I use. Regardless of what medium I use, and I will show you what other water media I have, I do like the Derwent water brush. I don't know if there's other Derwent water brushes, but this is the one that has the push button that, it drops 1 drop each time. It's not like a big squirt of water comes out. Now, I don't know what I did wrong the first time, but the first time I bought it, I hated it. I filled it with water. I was pressing this button. Nothing was happening. I mean, like I barely got a drop of water. So I absolutely hated it. And then I couldn't find another brush. So I refilled this with water. I don't know what I did the second time around. I just filled it with water and closed it both times, but it works fantastic now. Now I could even feel this rubber is tight. So it's going to release the water, while before it was extremely squishy and nothing was happening. So I don't know if I did something wrong or didn't tighten it, didn't add enough water. I don't really know what the whole deal was, but now I love this brush. And this is the one I keep grabbing because it's just so easy to use. And it doesn't throw out a lot of water. It doesn't leak because some of them, as you're spreading the water, they leak. So all of a sudden you have a blob of water. And those were the ones that I bought that were real budget kind of no-name brands. And I really regretted spending the money on them. It was just worth it to just pay and have less brushes that are a better quality than a bunch of different sizes where I couldn't guarantee that water wouldn't spill out when I was painting with it. So this is the water brush that I recommend. And now I'll talk a little bit about what water media I really like using. The first one are my watercolor pencils. My Albert Dürer, which are my favorite watercolor pencils, are downstairs, and it doesn't matter that you don't see it. I'm telling you that the Albert Dürer are my favorite pencils because the intensity of the color is about right, meaning that they're not too bright, they're not too dull, and I think it's a great, if you want to just start using a watercolor pencil, that's a great place to start. The other two things that I'm going to talk about and show you have a little bit of a learning curve, and that is my Inktense pencils. I really like them. They are fantastic. They're exactly what you would imagine when the name is Inktense. It's a very intense color. So when you're a beginner, this may not be the best option for you, only because I'm not going to say it's terrifying, but it's definitely more anxiety provoking because you put down a little bit of color and it looks fine. You add water and it magnifies the color, which is fantastic once you have had experience with them. But when you first start using watercolor pencils, they are kind of scary. But this is what I prefer using. I do love watercolor pencils over like crayons or any other type of watercolor media. So pencils would be my first choice or my first recommendation. And again, I would start with something like the Albert Dürer over the Inktense. Unless you love, love, love bright colors, then this is a fantastic set. This Inktense. I think I have 72. I don't have all of them. I know I don't have like the additional 28 colors, which I don't even think are available in the United States yet. But I know there are other colors. I don't have them. But I love the ones I do have, and when the others are available in the United States, I'm definitely buying them because they are a great pencil and they last forever because you don't need to put a lot of color down to get that intensity of color. So that is my watercolor pencils. The other watercolor media I like are the Neocolor 2s. This is a crayon format, but you can't really see it from the swatches because I don't think I really did a good job at putting any color down. I think I was in a rush when I did this. So they are definitely more vibrant than they look on this paper. But there is a learning curve. You might need 2 or 3 coats. It's not a smooth, like it's a smooth lay down when you're laying down just the pencil, the crayon, sorry. It looks really smooth, right? But when you're adding the water to it, it can be kind of splotchy looking. Okay, here it's not doing it at all because I have to show you how splotchy they could be. But believe me, sometimes maybe it depends on what paper I'm using. Sometimes it just looks like I can't get a smooth watercolor finish with them. However, the color is fantastic. This is on like note paper and it's still vibrant. So they are a great tool to have. I wouldn't start off with them. Like I said, there is a bit of a learning curve. But if you have some extra cash and you want to try a crayon, this is a really great set. I don't have a lot of them, obviously. This is what I have. I think this is a 40 or 30 set. I'm not really too sure. Well, I think it's more like a 30 set. But it's a wide range of colors, and you don't need more than this. You can mix these colors. You could put a blue and a yellow together and you'll get a green. So this is like a watercolor you can mix. So because this is kind of on the pricey side. Well, actually for me, it is on the pricey side, not kind of. So you don't need a large set of these things. You could use small sets. You can mix colors. If you love them, you start growing your collection. But starting off with a small, like a 12 set is definitely a possibility. and I think it would be a good choice. Now, when I talked about my water brush, I wanted to also talk about regular paintbrushes. If this is something you don't feel comfortable with, you don't enjoy using it, there are two brands of watercolor brushes that I really like, and the first one is the Silver Black Velvet. Not a cheap brush, but not grossly expensive either. But when you wet it, it stays to a gorgeous point. And you can get in really tight spaces with this brush, no matter how much water you add to it, how much paint you add to it, because this is fully loaded. This has a lot of water on it. And look at that point. So I love this brush. I have a few sizes. This is a size 6, and I think that the size 6 is a nice size to start with, or an 8. Small enough that you don't have to worry about getting into really small spaces. If you're in Europe, and I know this, I think this is a Polish brand. I don't think it's Ukrainian. Yeah, is Roman Small. This is a more inexpensive brush than the Silver Black Velvet, but this is a great brush. And for the price, it holds a ton of water. So if you're doing, a large background, you just put your color down. Let's say you're using the Caran d'Ache Neo Color 2, and then you just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and you'll get good movement of the paint with these brushes. So I really like these, especially for the price. I can't remember what this cost, but it was maybe half of what I spent for the Silver Black Velvet. So if you have the budget, I recommend the Silver Black Velvet. Or if you're in Europe and Silver Black Velvet is harder to find, I'm not really too sure, Roman Small, they sell it at Jackson's. They probably sell it in other places, especially depending on what country you're in. But these are two great options for a true watercolor brush. Okay. A little bit of a luxury, not a necessity, are gel pens. And I've got a bunch of different types. I have the Jelly Roll, I have the Uniball Signo, and I just got 2 of these Pentel Sparkle Pops. I really like the Sparkle Pop, but it's got a dual color. I don't know what you call it, but it has like green and blue in it. So I don't always want that. So even though these are extremely glittery and gorgeous colors, this is not something I reach for constantly. The one that I reach for a lot is the Jelly Roll Moonlight. I like them because they're more opaque and they're matte. They're not very shiny. So I could use this as a fine liner. I could use this to cover up a line. So I really like these for that. It does cover lines really well because of the opacity. Some of the other ones, especially if it's like a glitter, they don't really do as well in covering up lines. They're great to color with and to use as a fine liner, but these Moonlight pencils do like a double duty for me. The other gel pens that I reach for constantly are my Uniball Signo. I don't have the white with me, but I use the white a lot for highlighting, covering up lines, and I also use the silver and gold, especially the gold. I like to try to color metallic, and this works great to cover up lines. They're extremely opaque. They're very, very juicy. You don't have to work very hard to get any pigment out. They're a very smooth gel pen. So Uniball Signo are my real go-tos, and my second are the Jelly Roll Moonlight. I also do use the Jelly Roll Glaze Black quite a bit. I don't know if this is the full set, to be honest, because it comes in smaller packages. I think this is 2 or 3 packs. I don't use these colors that often, but the black I use quite a bit. You know, you might want to get some sort of, like, this gives like a 3D effect if you've never used it before. It's definitely raised. So you could use this on like eyes, on Hannah Lynn pages, especially after I've colored over those eyelashes. I go over it with this and it gives it like a raised look, and I really like that about them. But really, I would only recommend the black starting off with, and you could see if you like it and buy a small pack. I'm not sure I would recommend what I did, which was kind of buying all the packs that you saw at the store before trying it out. So the Jelly Roll Glazed Black is something I would invest in as a beginner. Regarding sparkly stuff, I do like the stickles. I bought a few colors. I don't know if I would start off with most of these. I really like this diamond one. As a matter of fact, I'm almost out of it, but it lasted me a pretty long time. But I like using this if you want to add some extra shine to your pages. But I also like it if I'm doing a fairy. I can do whatever color I want on the wings, then put this on top. It has kind of like a gold-ish, but there are other colors in there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's very, very colorful and shiny. And on things like the wings of a butterfly, the wings of a fairy, it really makes the color of your pencil kind of pop or stand out, because now it has all this glitter over it. So I do like the stickles. I bought this a long time ago when I was scrapbooking, so I don't really remember what the price was, but I don't think they were extremely expensive. Maybe in the US they're, you know, $5 to $7 each. But like I said, this lasted me a pretty long time. You don't need to use a lot. It's so glittery that you can kind of spread it out with like a cheap acrylic brush, and it's great. I also like the Deco Art brand. They have this galaxy glitter, which I really like as well. I don't like there's no tip, like, so you really do need a brush with this one. Sometimes with this, there's a nice fine tip on it, and I just pretend I'm coloring with it. And I just move it around like that. So this is my favorite, but the Deco Art brand does have some nice colors. They're good quality. I don't know what the price is in your country. They're a few dollars here each. They come in a lot of different glittery colors, iridescent colors, color shifting colors. So there's a lot of glittery things by Deco Art. So these two brands, Stickles and Deco Art, are great for adding kind of like a real shine to your page. So if you're not crazy about doing what I'm gonna call a more painter format of glitter, you know, meaning that you need a brush, I really could recommend this Spectrum Noir Sparkle. It is colorless, as far as, you know, there's no particular color associated with it. Well, now it picked up the purple, but it's an iridescent, and it just adds sparkle to any page or part of the page you would like to have some sparkle in. I'm gonna see if I could capture it there. You could kind of see a little iridescence in here. Maybe get it closer to the light. There we go. So it's a clear, it's like a silverish, whitish kind of color scheme. But if you see where I added it to the purple, it just makes whatever matte paint I have, or pencil, crayon, or anything that you want to put over it, it gives it an added sparkle. And that's why I like this. And I think this is great for beginners because you don't have to invest in very many things. You just get a couple of these sparkles, you color whatever you want, and then you put this right over it. I really like it. I've had this a couple of years, and it is the one that I use the most out of all of my sparkle media. And I do like the pen form as well. As I mentioned, I like the nib on the the stickles, but it is more challenging. Sometimes you need a brush, and this I have downstairs in my, near my couch. And if I just feel like adding sparkle, boom, 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 and it's done. So I really like this and could recommend the Spectrum Noir Sparkle. So that's as far as my supplies. I think those are great starting products. You don't need to buy anything more. But I wanted to talk a minute about tools. Okay, with tools, the next time you're in a dollar store, go pick up a really inexpensive blush brush. And these work fantastic. It's cheap. I think I got this for like $2 or $3 at a Five Below. So everything is $5 or below. But it's fantastic for cleaning off your pencil dust. And I got this after a little while because I started to notice that in the beginning, I was just wiping off with my hand. And I did start to notice that some of the pigment would come off like into what I was hoping was like a different color, or was I leaving it white? And now I had just kind of like these little marks on them. So this, I bought this, I got it from someone else's channel, obviously. And I just brush it off, and I love this tool. If you don't have one, or you're not near a dollar store and you have other brushes, you use whatever brush you have, but it is preferable to using your hand or blowing, which is exhausting. Another inexpensive tool that is invaluable to me are these pencil extenders. In one of my videos, I talked about why I prefer wood. Just quickly, I don't know why, actually. I just like the warmth of wood over, I think I just bought a couple of, they might have been Derwent, and they were, they're really good quality, and, they work really great. I just don't like the cold metal, and that's just a preference. These are also a lot cheaper. You can get like a dozen of them for the price of 2 or 3 of the metal made ones. Obviously, those are, more expensive to make than a plain wood one, but I really like them. And then I don't feel badly about stretching some of them because I need to fit my polychromos in there. So once I stretch it, I write polychromos on them. And if it doesn't have it, then I could use it for every other pencil that's, like a Prismacolor size. But again, they're so inexpensive, really invaluable tool, especially when you spend like $4.50 for one luminance pencil, or one whole bind is close to $5 here. You want to use it all the way to the end. So these things are fantastic additions to anybody's toolbox. So I recommend them. What I kind of wanted to talk about were 2 things that I use quite a bit, and that are color swatch charts. And now that I'm reading it, this is the color family chart that I use to make up the Prismacolor pencil lineup. And that's where you saw the numbers from, and that's where I got it from. This is from colorwithclaire.com. She offers these charts for free. You can give a donation, and these charts take time, so it's worth giving her some money for it. She goes through all of the pencils and finds like the best color family chart, so you know that this is the light, the medium, the dark, the darkest. Now I could go to orange, boom, boom, boom. So this is really good when you're first starting off, because it kind of teaches you how to find a light, a medium, and a dark of every color. So I love these charts. I use them all the time. Like when I'm going through and I don't know what I feel like coloring, I want to do a purple and a pink, I'll come here. Okay, these are my purples, these are my pinks, do they go? And I love these charts. I have it for this, polychromos, Inktense, and I got them all from Colored with Claire. The other ones I have, this is a flip side, is from My Colorful Country Life. And she does these color combination videos. And another invaluable tool. Again, she gives this for free. You could leave a donation if you want to. But the one that I'm really using all of the time are these metallics. Look at these. They are gorgeous. And I'll take this out, it's probably glaring. It's not only just gold or silver. You have rose gold, copper, brass, but these are the two that I absolutely love. Rusty steel and even this patina. I think these are so clever of her. They are really, really lovely. And if you want to add something else on your page besides, you know, a gold or a silver, you can do these unusual color combinations in metal. So if you can't do all of them, and it is a time investment to color all of these, so I get it. You might not want to do all of that. If you just do the gold of your pencil brand, this is the polychromos. I also have the Prismacolor. Those are the two pencil sets that I really use. I know she's doing others now. I think she's doing Black Widow. I don't know if she's done another, or like a fourth one. I know of those three. But again, if you could just go and do the metal combinations, this will help you out a lot when you're trying to color metal. And there's a lot of books that have metal objects in them. So this is absolutely an invaluable tool for me. And last but not least, I just want to talk very briefly about Pinterest. And I get so many ideas from Pinterest. I mean, you can actually look up, if you want to, ideas for specific pages that you're coloring. If you have a Hannah Lynn page, you type up Hannah Lynn coloring pages, you can put the particular book, and you'll find hundreds of images. But it's not only good for that, it's good for color combination. If you just go on Pinterest, you'll find a lot of different color palettes. So sometimes I just do an entire picture. I love this. This is a nice color palette. These muted purples, blues, and some greens. They also have them very similar to the Color Cube, maybe not as detailed because hers come with a light, a medium, a dark. It gives you pencil numbers. I mean, the thing is fantastic, but they are pricey. This is a great idea. You know, okay, these are pinks, a yellow, and an orange. They show you what it looks like together. Again, not with the detail that the Color Cube has, but I save them and I just get some ideas sometimes. So you can see that there are a million color palettes on here. So in addition to, let's say you have a book that you absolutely love, you know, I do faces and hair. These are, you know, different people, different colored pencils, they're paintings, you know, so it gives me an idea of what I might want to do. So I really, really love Pinterest. It has a lot of information that I think is really invaluable to the beginner colorist. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Jordy's. Jordy, thank you so much for the idea. It was a great video, and I hope everyone liked mine as well. So thanks for stopping by, guys. Take care.